Well, hello again, and here is the next question to be dealt with in the Easy Strategy series. It's one that every company worries about from time to time, and it's this: where will the growth come from? Well, perhaps you're in a business where everything's going well. Your markets are growing. You have a solidly defendable position. Your market share is stable or increasing. The business is producing adequate profits. Everybody's happy. What could be better? Well, of course, this isn't generally always the case. Sometimes there are problems. Sometimes the existing business is lagging for one reason or another. It could be that your performance in the market isn't doing what you hoped it would do, despite all your best efforts, or for that matter, the business that you're in is starting to go away, to diminish, to deteriorate. So of course you're going to start thinking about what will be the areas of growth in the future. Where will we get more business and more cash flow and profit for our shareholders? Where's it all going to come from? Well, often the temptation when you see this happening is just simply to strike out into new areas, to diversify and to offer new products, new customers, new market segments, perhaps new nations. And of course, we all know you have to be careful about this. Whenever in a situation like this you're entering a new business, particularly when you're doing it to escape the disappointment of present businesses, you really have to soberly ask yourself, what makes me think I can do any better in this new business than I was doing in the old one? What is it that I will offer customers that the incumbents in the new segment or territory and so forth aren't offering? I know that's a kind of a painful process to go through, but to stay out of trouble, that kind of thinking has to be undergone. The history of diversifying into new countries for many large companies, certainly here in Britain, has been a sobering one. The existing markets have started to dwindle or go ex-growth, and the conclusion has been, well, we'll just set up someplace else on the continent of Europe, in America, or whatever, and we'll offer our same fine products there. This has been a particular disappointing endeavor in the retailing industry. Many British retailers decided to go abroad and set up in these fairly culturally similar nations, and to great disappointment. So one always has to say, well, what is it that we will be doing that they're not doing now, and what makes we think we have the value chain and could easily establish the value chain to deliver this? So often the homework for that hasn't really been done thoroughly, and has in addition been bedeviled by cultural problems, the difficulty of finding reliable local partners, and so forth. Sometimes there is a growth opportunity in the existing business. One could go back to basics, go back and think about the way in which we're dealing with the customer, the way we're satisfying those requirements, the way we are designing our value chain to deliver on it, asking all the questions from square one, going back to the basics and thinking about the fundamentals of the sort that we've talked about in the earlier videos in this series. And from time to time, we will come to the conclusion that there's a lot of growth available to us in, say, product line extensions, and kind of inching into new markets without doing anything radically different, product line modifications, improvements to our value chain, our delivery mechanisms, and so forth. In other words, just doing what we do now but better, simply because we've looked at the past performance, we've identified the strengths and weaknesses, and we think we can do better, and so we're going to embark upon a program to do that. That's often worked for companies. It's a little bit less glamorous than diversifying into a whole new product line or a new country or whatever, but it's often the sober, sensible thing to do, and often, if done well, can result in very attractive results. Similarly, the paradox about this current disruptive atmosphere caused by the coronavirus may in itself offer some opportunities. What we have going now is not only difficulty on the part of a lot of businesses, but we have things that are changing. We have supply lines that are altering. We have customer expectations that are changing. We have a situation where people are working at home and operating differently and finding out that that works. And so there's not only disruption of a negative sort, there's some positive disruption. There are the world is changing around us, and we have to watch that world. We have to think about what it might offer for us to a way for us to improve what we do. And I'm sure many companies will come out of this whole situation much improved because they managed to get on the right track, not only accommodating the pressures of the coronavirus and all of that, but accommodating the changes that the coronavirus has made to the way in which we operate, the way in which consumer expectations may have changed, and in what there is in the offerings of the marketplace. And furthermore, some of our competitors, for one reason or another, may have fallen by the wayside, either through financial pressures or through a conclusion that they must operate in a different business because they don't like this one anymore as a result of the failures owing to the coronavirus. So there could be the area could be replete with opportunity, and we must feel free to exploit that. So the strategic thinker has to ask all of these questions, to examine all of these possibilities, to energize his team and stimulate them to ask the questions and come up with the answers. The whole notion of finding growth opportunities for the future, of course, is something that preoccupies us all, but we should do so in the context of learning the mistakes of others, but also exploiting and extracting the best thinking from our existing team, and proceeding at a stately pace, but aggressively when the opportunity seems to present itself. And with the coronavirus situation, there may be a whole new world of opportunity out there for us. So let's grasp it. Those are the questions that the strategist must ask, and they're very germane right now. Okay, well, I hope that helps. And in any case, if you liked it, give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And thanks a lot, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.